Welcome to the explainer for Book 10, Personal and Community Action. When we stare down the sheer, terrifying scale of the climate crisis, it's so easy to just assume we need some massive, top down systemic overhaul. And hey, we definitely do. But here's the thing we almost always ignore: the actual engine of that system is you. Today, we're diving into the really compelling case for why your everyday choices aren't just drops in the ocean, they are literally the gears turning the entire global machine. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going on a journey from your morning routine right up to global economic transformation. We'll be hitting 1. The power of one. 2. The sustainable lifestyle toolkit. 3. The climate action pyramid. 4. Multiplying impact through community. And wrapping up with 5. Building the future economy. Let's jump right in. Starting off with Section 1, the power of one. So is one person truly powerless against climate change? Honestly, it's the ultimate psychological hurdle, isn't it? When you're scrolling through news about melting ice caps and record-breaking heat waves, the idea that sorting your recycling is going to save the world feels, well, kind of absurd. But the core thesis we're looking at here relies on some pretty undeniable math. Billions of micro actions absolutely equal macro global transformation. Think about it this way. Since human behavior caused the crisis, human behavior is exactly what has to fix it. There is a direct pipeline from your daily morning routine to massive climate shifts. Your daily actions, they dictate your resource use. That usage generates your specific carbon emissions, which then feeds directly into the overall climate impact. You're not just a bystander here. You are the absolute origin point of this entire chain reaction. And that origin point is backed by hard data. We're talking about direct trade-offs, choosing to save electricity by powering down unused devices or hopping on public transport instead of driving alone. These aren't just nice things to do. They are measurable levers. You pull the public transport lever and local pollution immediately drops. You plant a tree and you're literally building a carbon vacuum. It perfectly bridges the gap between what you do today and what the globe needs tomorrow. Moving on to Section 2, the Sustainable Lifestyle Toolkit. Now here is a really profound paradigm shift. Sustainability does not mean retreating to the dark ages or churning your own butter by candlelight, right? That's the live harder myth, this idea that saving the planet requires constant struggle and endless sacrifice. Instead, the focus of this toolkit is entirely on living smarter. It's all about efficiency, optimization, and upgrading how we interact with our environment without making ourselves miserable. Let's open up that smarter toolkit, starting with energy and transport. The steps here are highly practical and super immediate. Swap out those old bulbs for LEDs, be ruthless about switching off devices that drain phantom power, or, if it makes sense for you, install solar panels. On the move, take the bus, grab a bike, or maybe transition to an electric vehicle. These are rapid adjustments that drastically shrink your footprint while, and this is a great bonus, often saving you some serious money in the long run. The second half of our toolkit covers water, waste, and food. We're talking about finally fixing those dripping leaks, maybe setting up some rainwater harvesting, and really sticking to that classic reduce, reuse, recycle mantra. In the kitchen, it means preferring local food and actually eating what you buy to cut down on food waste. Sure, these might seem like mundane, everyday chores, but when you optimize them, they compound into massive, systemic resource savings. All right, Section 3, the Climate Action Pyramid. Because, let's be real, listing actionable items is the easy part. Making them stick, that is the real trick. This behavior change framework walks us up a psychological pyramid. At the very base, you have awareness, just knowing the climate problem is there. That sparks the motivation to fix it, which leads you to take a single action. But action alone isn't enough, is it? Repeating that action over and over forges a habit, and stacking those habits together builds the very peak of the pyramid, a permanent lifestyle. It's a journey from merely knowing about a problem to truly living the solution. That brings us to Section 4, multiplying impact through community. Once you've reached the top of your personal pyramid and locked in that lifestyle, it's time to look beyond your own front door. This is exactly where the multiplier effect takes over. As the source material points out, communities multiply impact. When individuals group together, your impact shifts from simple addition to outright multiplication. Taking your sustainable lifestyle and injecting it into your neighborhood or your local council scales your single effort into exponential, undeniable community power. So how do we actually trigger that kind of scale? Well, through targeted education and loud, undeniable awareness. We aren't just talking about handing out a few pamphlets here. We're talking about reshaping the baseline understanding of the next generation through climate education in schools and actively using our social media feeds to spread awareness. We are essentially turning everyday classrooms and the smartphones in our pockets into massive, scalable engines for sustainable change. Which leads us to our final part, Section 5, Building the Future Economy. As our communities shift their habits, the very fabric of our economy actually has to transform right alongside them to keep up. Those individual lifestyle choices we talked about, they start blossoming into tangible micro-business opportunities. We're seeing surges in new recycling businesses, organic products lines, and eco-friendly goods. This is where sustainability seamlessly meets the market. By shifting what we choose to buy, we force the market to supply it, meaning green practices literally become the profitable practices. And this brings us to the ultimate vision outlined in our explainer today. What does the endgame actually look like? It's a world where eco-friendly lifestyles, sustainable communities, and responsible consumption aren't just niche, alternative choices that you have to fight for. They become the accepted, fundamental baseline for how society operates. It is the natural, inevitable result of billions of microactions permanently scaling up. So, we've mapped the entire journey from your morning coffee all the way to global economic shifts. The math is incredibly clear. Since human behavior is the root of the crisis, you are the definitive solution layer. Small actions absolutely create big impact, and community power equals global change. So the only question left to ask yourself right now is this: what step of the climate action pyramid will you climb today to change the future? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Keep climbing.